Welcome to Get Your Mind Right, Boots on the Ground, where we spotlight professionals in the field who have overcome challenges and how they work through them. Their stories offer real-world insights and tips for thriving in today's competitive landscape.
Welcome back to Get Your Mind Right, the world's only podcast dedicated to digital marketing and merchant services professionals. So back with me again today is Dawson Dimmett. Dawson, good morning.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
I appreciate you being back here. So Dawson is our sales implementation specialist here at Evolve.
Yep.
So this is our last in a 3-part series on choosing, recommending, and onboarding the right solution for your merchant. So if you missed the first 2 episodes, they're absolute dynamite. I highly recommend you go back and get caught up on them. But on today, we're going to talk about challenging and unique merchant solutions. Okay. And then at the end, I got a special surprise for you.
Oh my.
Oh yeah. Quick fire lightning question round.
Oh, that's my favorite.
How did I know that? All right, well, let's get started. So let's talk about when merchants, and this is a general question, Dawson, but they're dealing more with more specific needs like, recurring payments or ACH capabilities. What's your strategy? And this is really a broad question, right? But what's your strategy for ensuring that your merchant's really going to get the most out of that solution? They're going to get the biggest bang for their buck.
Really, you got to figure out why or what they like about their solution today and what things are the key ways that they operate inside their business, right?
Mm-hmm.
How they send their invoices, how they collect their payments. Then like, okay, you take the same payment at the same dollar amount from the same people every month. Let's send them up on a recurring plan, right? So there's some key factors in each of those, whether maybe it's a mix of card present, card not present, to put them on like an Evolve Pay or Deja Vu type solution, or Swipe Simple as well, to be able to have those options in there for them. And finding ways to make it easier for them. That's one of the key factors, is either optimizing their payments by lowering their interchange costs through level 2, level 3, or making it faster for them and more efficient.
Okay. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, you said level 2 and level 3. So for you folks that missed the first episode here, Dawson did a nice little dive in on that. And if you're wanting to have part of B2B payments as you're in your trick bag, it's really crucial to understand that. It's very easy and it is super meaningful for your merchants. So I want to throw another scenario at you here. And this is really a general question. Tell me about where you've had some unexpected challenges, from this. And, the merchant, maybe they gave you the wrong information, or they just were having really trouble following along. What do you do in that kind of scenario?
I feel like the one that would come up most often has got to be terminal connectivity type. And just, for some reason, maybe just missed it, forgot to talk about it, or you saw it was plugged in with what you thought was an Ethernet cord and turns out it was dial-up cord, right? Those are really the most common situations where you're going to have some, a controversy to where it's not going to work and turns out, I didn't qualify that quite right? And so that's where you have to go back to the merchant, make it right to them, make sure they get set up with the right solution, figure out, okay, if it's on dial-up, hey, do you have Ethernet? If not, do you have Wi-Fi? Okay, we have nothing else except for dial-up. We have to move to a SIM card, right? And knowing that and how to overcome it is really going to make your life easier. If you overcome it before you ship them the terminal, please do that every time. It's my preference. Just as a clarifying question, hey, is that going to be on Ethernet, Wi-Fi? Do you need a SIM card? Just because a lot of merchants still operate on dial-up today. I feel like in the last 2 years, that's changed a lot. And a lot of people are getting their upgrades put in, so that way they actually have Ethernet. But even up till a couple of years ago, there were still so many people using dial-up.
So I want to circle back to something you alluded to in episode 1 of this series. As you talked about back in the day when online payments were first becoming a thing, that people had two different solutions, right? They had a card present solution, and then they might have a virtual terminal solution in the back. And the truth of the matter is today there's a lot of these merchants, and I'll just call them in between merchants. It's not clear cut whether they're card present or card not present. It's a little bit of one and a little bit of the other. How are you looking at those merchants, and how does that augur into your final recommendation?
That's a lot of merchants that we work with today. I would say most merchants could use both. Now, of course, it's like quick service, ice cream shop, or something like that.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's going to be card present. But we'll stick to the auto repair like we have for a while. But like on auto repair, that should have a virtual terminal plus a terminal to give them the options. And utilizing, like I've been saying, for this whole series, Deja Vu, Evolve, Pay, and Swipe Simple are the 3 solutions that do that very, very well. And they have multiple different options inside those solutions as well, depending on which features they need. And that's the majority of merchants we work with today need to have some sort of solution where I can do card present and card not present and report back to one place.
Okay, very good, very good. So I want you to talk to sales professionals out there in the field, and let's say that they've traditionally just worked with a desktop terminal type environment, right? And this is obviously these are new talk tracks. This is a new set of tech to learn. What kind of advice would you give them?
I would say it's no different than whenever there were new terminals that came out for EMV updates in roughly 2013, like right around that mark. It's just new equipment, right? You just have to be open-minded about it and just take the time to learn it very, very well. Same reason why, and I always call them like the guys that have sold terminals forever. They're a terminal guy. They always sell terminals. To those people, it's really just take the time to learn your product, know it inside and out. And if you're comfortable with selling your product, you're going to be comfortable selling it to that merchant. If you know your product very well, it's going to come easy to you. This isn't some like crazy product that we're only going to have for a couple months and then move on to the next one.
Right.
We've been using these solutions for the last 4 years pretty consistently.
Well, so I'm going to take it the next logical step. I know that people's natural inclination when they learn something, they've got it. They want to share that knowledge. They're excited about it. But your problem is you mentioned in episode 2 this information dump truck, right? So I've got all this knowledge, and what I do is I back the dump truck and I dump it on them, and they're overwhelmed, right?
Exactly.
What do you tell that guy? Because there's a real risk. Again, you can have a great solution for the merchant. They're going to gain efficiencies. They're going to save money. But man, you've just exhausted them with all the info you've laid on them.
Exactly. It really kind of goes back to more so like question-based selling to qualify the merchant into the right solution, understanding how they're using it. You don't have to give them all the information of the solution, because half of it probably doesn't make sense to them anyway, because they're not using those products or those features inside the product. So asking the merchant questions to figure out how they run their business today, how they take their payments, and then you as the sales rep have to recognize, okay, how can I make that more efficient for them? This product, maybe it's the Deja Vu virtual terminal, or maybe it's the Evolve Pay virtual terminal. That's going to be an add-on that they really need. So that way they can send out those e-invoices and get paid faster.
Well, that's a great answer, and it's the right answer, right? And what your answer was that you gave me was that understand how the merchants run in their business today.
Yep.
And even if they don't have pain points, or they don't perceive they have pain points, they may have some, right? And you're always better off as a sales rep. If you see the merchant, there's 10 ways you can really help them. Probably not best off addressing all 10. Let's pick out the biggest 2 or 3 and get them on board with that. And a lot of times that's enough to get the merchant to pull the trigger on that.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good advice, Dawson. All right, here we go. Lightning round here. Quick. Get to pick one solution: Deja Vu or Clover. Go.
Deja Vu for me. It's going to be cheaper monthly and on the hardware setup, and I can utilize it with ACH. And I love a lot of the products Deja Vu is coming out with right now.
All right. Top 3 tools to optimize a merchant's payment processing. You're on.
Top 3 tools. If you can automate level 2, level 3, that'd be number 1. Adding an invoice or invoicing feature to a traditionally card present merchant. It's going to be number 2. Number 3 is going to be finding a solution that can sync the data into QuickBooks for them.
Okay, take your breath now, because you can't when you're on my time here, right? If you could onboard any type of merchant, just one type of merchant for the rest of your career, what would it be? Go.
B2B merchants that I'd put on a level 3 solution.
Why?
They're going to be card not present. They're great to set up, phenomenal volume, and you can actually do a good service to those merchants, even if it's on traditional pricing. You don't have to really worry about the pricing as far as the discount rate, because you're going to save them so much in what they pay to Visa, MasterCard on those level 2, level 3 cards, and it's going to make it easier for you. And there's still a lot of money to be made in that market, even in the Interchange Plus model.
They're definitely not beat up as your up and down the street merchants, for sure.
Exactly. It's a longer sale,
Sure.
Don't get me wrong. But if you get in with that merchant and you understand, you get a referral from somebody, you can get into a lot of those B2B type merchants.
All right. Well, Dawson, that wraps up the series.
Perfect.
I appreciate you coming here. Will you come back again?
Absolutely.
Well, I tell you what, before we wrap up, I'm going to give you the last word.
Perfect. Well, thanks you guys for being on here today. And don't forget to get your mind right.
And for Dawson Dimmett, I'm John Johnson, and I echo that. Dude, you took my line.
I know.